Hi, I'm Kyle Higgins, writer of Radiant Black, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ultraman, The Winter Soldier, a bunch of stuff, and you're watching Married with the Comics.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Married with Comics. I'm your host Laura, and yes, that was Kyle Higgins. I apologize for the audio quality. It was definitely the best I could do on a short notice. Thank you so much to Kyle Higgins for doing a shout out to our channel. It was awesome. So today I'm going to talk to you all about a small portion of Comic-Con. I could literally sit here and talk about Comic-Con for about 2 hours. So I thought it'd be a little bit easier if I kind of break this into slightly more digestible segments. So this video, I wanted to talk more about the signatures that we got, the artists and writers that we met, and the items that I got slabbed. But before we talk about all those details, I promised that I would have information about our giveaway. So, as you all know, every Wednesday and Friday we post videos at 11 a.m. On Sunday we post videos at 4:30 p.m. So, on Sunday at 4:30 we are going live! Oh, what is going to happen at the live show? We are going to have our 250 subscriber giveaway. So we are going to have a copy of Witches and Chew available to one lucky individual. I also just may have other giveaways at the exact same event. However, you have to attend. So come chat with us. We're going to talk about the comic books that are coming out that Wednesday anyways. We'll answer some of your questions. We'll have a bit of fun. And we'll give away some free stuff. So, tune in. And keep in mind, we do have a 500 subscriber giveaway coming up. So, keep commenting on the videos. Now, before I get into the signatures, let me give you a little explanation, kind of the method to my madness. So, what I did before GalaxyCon started, about a month or two beforehand, I started paying more attention to the website. And anytime a new comic book creator or artist was listed, I'd take a look and see what some of their more famous or known works were, see if I had already purchased some of those individual issues, and if I had, I started setting it aside in my little GalaxyCon pile. About a week or two before Comic-Con started, I started filtering through that pile because there were some artists that had canceled, and there were some new names that were added to the list at the last minute. Narrowed it down, and then went to GalaxyCon with my pile. So the overall thing that I tried to do is I didn't want to break the bank going and getting a ton of comics just for Comic-Con, especially if it turned out that they were going to cancel on me. Each of these comics either I already had in our collection, they were new titles that I was interested in anyways and was definitely going to be buying, or we're talking about Joelle Jones, and in that case, yes, I did buy some comic books just for her to sign. So the first person that I certainly needed to start with is Kyle Higgins, and not just because he did that amazing shout out for us. So I think that Kyle Higgins was actually the biggest surprise of GalaxyCon. It's not that I didn't like him or appreciate his work. Complete fairness. I'd only read 2 of his individual issues. So we're talking issue number 1 of 2 series where the characters are being established. Yes, you can get a sense of a writing style from, the beginning of a story, but you can't really see what the writer's really capable of until you get a little further along. So then we went and met Kyle Higgins, and I will say he was the most friendly, very enigmatic personality that we met. So, I had brought in my 2 comic books, and he saw that I had Radiant Black issue number 1. And he asked me, of course, have you read the rest of the series? How far did you get? And I admitted that I'd only read issue number 1, but I was waiting for the trade. So he breaks out this huge tablet and he says, "Oh, we were just submitting the final approvals for the graphic novel that's coming out later this month." And he starts swiping through the graphic novel. And he points out how they designed the cover and, which sections are going to be reflective. Starts showing me the very beginning of the comic, but because he knew I'd only read issue number 1, he skipped past any potential spoilers, and he started showing me the bonus content that's at the back of the comic book. Now, he wasn't giving me a sales pitch to try and convince me to buy a trade that I already planned on buying. Instead, it was almost as though he was so excited to get to share this little teeny tiny preview of the upcoming graphic novel that he couldn't wait to share it with someone else. And it was very contagious. So now I'm just as excited as he is for that graphic novel. So the second one that we met was Peter David. Now, yes, I know he is so much better known for his work with the Hulk. Believe me, I know. But I was trying to be very good and focus in on comic books that I already had, not go out and purchase a bunch of comic books. So, the comic books that I had were Symbiote Spider-Man issue number 1, and this is the B variant cover, which he said he actually had never seen. And Symbiote Spider-Man Crossroads issue number 1, which just came out last week. Yes, I did think it was perfect timing. So the next one for me was Aaron Campbell. Now, Aaron Campbell is an incredibly talented artist. So had him sign my copy of Hellblazer John Constantine, issue number 1. This one, which is Green Hornet year number 1. And he signed right there on the hood for me. I thought that was great. And because of the different ads that he sort of had at his booth, I went ahead and picked up a copy of Infidel, the graphic novel, and he signed it for me. And yes, as soon as I see this little ad here that says, selected for NPR's 100 favorite horror stories of all time, I'm like, I need to read that one. So many of you know that I have some of my absolute favorite artists. J. Scott Campbell, Ken Lashley are definitely the top 2. But I wasn't always a fan. Typically what makes me a fan of an artist is I'll see a cover and I'll make a point, especially if I love it, to find out who the artist is. And eventually you start kind of seeing the pattern where they constantly keep coming up with great, amazing stuff. So one of those names that had started kind of definitely getting on my radar was Mico Suayan. And the more I started digging into his work, the more I'm like, oh, I love some of these covers. So 2 of them I had already purchased. So this is Batman Black and White, but of course it is the Batman homage cover. I loved the cape, I loved the bats and the moon in the background, and yes, Punchline in his arms. Loved it, and of course he did sign it for me. This one I've talked to you all about before. This is Spider-Man Spider's Shadow issue number 1, and I've shown off the black and white variant, which is gorgeous, but there's just something about this one with the color versus that blackness that just really pops. So I love it, and I really appreciate that he signed it for me. When I started looking at some of the other covers that Mico Suayan had done, there were 2 particular covers that I knew if I saw them at GalaxyCon, they had to come home with me. One of them appeared. So I had to buy it. And that is The Last Ronin, issue number 3. Look at this thing. It is gorgeous. I wasn't sure I was going to like the green signature on the green, and it pops. It's beautiful. I love it. Yes, it is going in gator guards. It is going on my wall. I love it way too much for it to be stuck and hidden in this bookshelf. Not gonna happen. So I think my only problem now is because I love this cover so much, I'm probably gonna have to grab the other turtle covers that are done by him for The Last Ronin. You know, there are problems, and then there are solutions. And last but not least was Joelle Jones. Now, I'm sorry, you all. I have been so excited to meet Joelle Jones since the very first second that I found out she was coming to GalaxyCon. Like, I don't even have to see her and I'm already over the moon. So, first things first, I did get some items signed and slabbed. This was actually my first experience with that at a Comic-Con. So specifically for GalaxyCon, I bought a copy of Lady Killer issue number 1, and I bought the Future State Wonder Woman A cover. I had the Future State Wonder Woman B cover, which was really pretty, but it was not done by Joelle Jones. Because this was the first appearance of Wonder Girl, or Yara Flor, I wanted to make sure that I had the A cover done by Joelle Jones, signed by Joelle Jones, and that's exactly what I did. Of course, you're seeing it now, her signing. You'll notice that she signed 4 books. 2 of them were for me, 2 of them were for an amazing friend. He and I both picked the exact same one, so we both grabbed Lady Killer #1. We both grabbed the first appearance of Yara Flor, and it was amazing. When I get those back from CGC, I'll let you know what the grades are. So finished the signing process, went back to the booth, and talked to Joelle Jones, who was just amazing. She was absolutely amazing. So the individual issues of hers that I got signed was Lady Killer issue #2, #3, 4, and 5. Now, I do happen to own a copy of Volume 2, issue #1, and I was that close to getting it signed. Except I knew that the completionist in me would immediately need to go collect the rest of Volume 2. So I was very good. And I decided to wait until I collect all of Volume 2, and then I will get her to sign it. No problem. The other ones that I got her to sign was Wonder Girl issue #1 and the Catwoman 80th anniversary cover done by Joelle Jones. So that's just the comic books that I got signed. That's not including any art prints. That's not including any other special purchases, graphic novels, individual comics that were not signed by artists that we purchased at Comic-Con. Let's just say we had one heck of a haul. Loved every single minute of it. And there are a couple little things that we are going to talk to you all about how this Comic-Con was different because it was the first con that we had been to since the outbreak of COVID. So we do have more information coming, more great Comic-Con videos, but I figured this would be an amazing start. Just wish I had another 20 comic books for Joelle Jones to sign. But there's always next time. This is Laura from Married with Comics, and I will see you all again very soon.